It hit Kai Mercer's face hard, like a loud bang. Kai Mercer fell down to the floor of the fighting cage. Bright lights blinked in the dark room. There was music going boom boom boom, like a fast heartbeat. The people watching the fight all gasped. This fight was happening under an old building. It was a secret place where people came to watch fights. Some fighters were getting ready. Some people were yelling and waving money. They were all waiting to see who would win. Kai Mercer was hurt. His legs were wobbly like jelly. He held his face where the big punch landed. He looked shocked, like someone had tricked him. Kai Mercer dreamed of winning. But now that dream was broken. Why? Because this fight was not fair. It was a trick. Silas, the mean man who ran the fights, laughed. He was a boss who wore shiny gold chains. He made sure his favorite fighters won by cheating. He looked at Kai Mercer and said, "Stay down, kid." He laughed a big mean laugh. He was happy because he had made a lot of money by cheating. The people watching stopped smiling. Some looked around nervously. They were not sure if they liked what they saw. One man watching didn't cheer. He had a strong body and a serious face. He leaned on an old pole and said nothing. But his eyes were sharp, like a lion ready to pounce. His name was Keanu Reeves. Silas kicked Kai Mercer on the ground. "Crawl away, loser," he said. The music kept booming. The lights flashed. But Keanu stepped forward. His hands turned into tight fists. He looked at Silas and growled, "Your game is over." Everything felt different. The air was heavy. Chains above rattled. Smoke floated around. Silas looked at Keanu and stopped smiling. He saw something in Keanu's eyes. It was something scary. It was justice. Keanu was not just any man. He was a great fighter. He knew how to fight using Muay Thai, a special kind of kickboxing. He had fought many times before and could tell when something wasn't right. He had quiet power inside him. He didn't need to yell. He just stood still like a storm waiting to strike. Silas didn't care. He barked orders like a big dog. "I make winners, not weaklings," he shouted. His gold chains shone in the flashing lights. But those chains couldn't hide his fear now. Kai Mercer was just a young fighter. He had wrapped tape on his hands to protect them. He was shaking. He wasn't fighting for fun. He was fighting to help his sister. She needed money, and he wanted to win the prize to help her. But he didn't know the fight was set up for him to lose. In the shadows, an older man watched. He had seen many fights. He whispered, "That kid's got a heart." He knew Silas was a cheater. He was torn. Should he speak up or stay quiet? All around, people kept shouting. Lights flashed. Chains swung. The smell of sweat filled the air. People were placing bets and hoping to win money. Keanu was still watching. He saw everything. He saw Dax the Hammer Malone, the fighter who hit Kai Mercer. Dax had big muscles and was paid to cheat. Keanu knew it wasn't fair. He clenched his fists. He made a promise to stop the lies. Kai Mercer's fists shook. He gritted his teeth. Even though he was hurting, he didn't give up. Silas's shiny gold and sneaky smile didn't scare him. The room felt like it was going to explode. The crowd was loud like thunder. Silas thought he was the king of the fight club. He had money. He had power. But he didn't have honesty. The lights blinked faster. The music pounded harder. People yelled louder. Keanu stepped forward again. He wasn't scared of Silas. He didn't care about the money. He cared about what was right. He shouted, "Play fair, Silas, or I'll stop your game." The music stopped for a moment. Everyone froze. Silas laughed and said, "Stay out of this, old man." But his voice didn't sound so strong anymore. The fighters in the room looked at each other. Was Keanu right? Was Silas a cheater? Then Silas did something mean. He threw some money at Kai Mercer and said, "Here, take this, nobody." He was trying to make Kai Mercer feel small. People in the crowd laughed and cheered. They banged their fists and yelled, "Beat him up." But some fighters weren't laughing. They looked at Silas with angry eyes. They whispered to each other, "He's not fair." Dax came closer to Kai Mercer. He hit him in the ribs. It made a loud crack sound. Kai Mercer fell, blood on his lips. But he looked up, eyes full of fire. He was hurt, but he wasn't done. Keanu saw this and his jaw tightened. He wanted to jump in. But he waited. He watched everything. He was like a lion ready to pounce. The older man from before leaned forward again. He whispered, "That kid's tough. Silas is dirt." Everyone could feel something was coming. The crowd's yelling got louder and louder. Some people started chanting Keanu's name. Others booed Silas. Even the fighters began to look angry. Kai Mercer stood up again. His legs were shaking, but he stood tall. He wiped the blood off his chin. He wasn't going to give up, not tonight. Keanu was ready now. He took a deep breath. He was going to stop Silas, no matter what. Silas got angry. He grabbed Kai Mercer and shouted, "You're mine. You do what I say." Dax walked around Kai Mercer, ready to finish the fight. But Kai Mercer was ready too. He ducked just in time, and Dax missed. The crowd went wild. Some threw money. Some jumped up and down. Kai Mercer, even though hurt, showed he wasn't weak. He was strong inside. He was fighting for someone he loved. The cage shook. The chains rattled. Smoke filled the air. People couldn't believe what they were seeing. Then, Keanu walked into the cage. The room went quiet. He looked at Silas and said, "This ends now." Silas stepped back. His smile was gone. Dax tried to stop Keanu, but Keanu moved fast. He kicked Dax in the leg, BAM. He punched him in the chest, POW. Dax fell down hard, groaning. The crowd screamed with joy. The fighters clapped. Even the older man nodded. Keanu turned to Silas. Silas tried to run, but Keanu grabbed him by the shirt. "No more lies," Keanu said. He threw Silas to the floor. Silas was done. His kingdom of cheating was over. The crowd cheered. Kai Mercer smiled through his pain. He knew he didn't lose. He knew he stood up for what was right. Keanu helped Kai Mercer stand. "You did good, kid," he said. Kai Mercer nodded. Then someone shouted, "Let's make fights fair again." Everyone agreed. The music started again. But this time, it felt different. People were happy. They weren't scared anymore. Kai Mercer looked at the lights above and whispered, "For you, sis." He didn't win the fight. But he won something bigger. He won the honor. And Keanu? Keanu walked away quietly, like a shadow in the night. He didn't stay for cheers. He didn't take any money. He just made sure justice won. And deep under the city, in the neon-colored fight club, a new story began. One where fighters didn't cheat. One where people cheered for the truth. One where heroes like Keanu made the world better. Keanu Reeves walked into the big, bright warehouse. The lights were shiny like rainbows. His voice was sharp, like a toy sword. "Back off, Silas," he said, "or I'll stop your sneaky game." Everyone got quiet. The people who liked to bet whispered, "Who is he?" The other fighters looked at Keanu. "He's tough," they said. They could feel it. Keanu wasn't scared. Not at all. Silas stood tall. He had shiny gold chains around his neck. He smiled in a mean way. "Dax, go smash that guy," he shouted. His voice was loud like thunder. People in the crowd yelled. Fighters banged on the cage with their hands. Just a minute ago, they were laughing at a boy named Kai Mercer who had fallen. But now things were changing. Kai Mercer was still hurt, breathing hard. But his eyes were strong. He wasn't giving up. People saw that, and their hearts felt something special. A promise. A big feeling. The lights flashed fast and bright. Keanu's fists got tight. His body was strong and ready like a spring. He didn't want to fight just for fun. He wanted to stop Silas from cheating. He looked around. The place was loud and wild. Everyone stared at Keanu. He was the star now. An old man leaned closer. He whispered, "Keanu is real. Silas is in trouble." The old man liked Kai Mercer. He saw what Silas had done. He saw the fake punch Dax used to win. Now, the air was hot and full of feelings. Someone shouted, "Fight, Keanu." More people joined. "Take him down," they cried. They used to laugh at Keanu. Now they cheered for him. It was a big change. The warehouse felt like it might explode. Silas looked around, scared. "Dax, finish him," he screamed. The crowd got louder. People held onto their money. Fighters hit the cage harder. The voices became wild. They weren't quiet anymore. When Kai Mercer first fell, it was silent. Now, the noise was huge. Keanu thought for a second. His jaw was tight. Should he fight? Silas kept yelling, but Keanu said nothing. His silence was powerful. Smoke filled the air. The lights hurt people's eyes. The cage made scary groaning sounds, like a monster waking up. "Keanu's got this," someone shouted. Their voice was strong and full of belief. More people joined in. "He's gonna win," they said. The warehouse shook with noise. Kai Mercer stood back up. He was hurt, but proud. His heart was strong like a drum. Keanu looked right at Silas. His eyes said, "I'm going to stop you." The Fight Club was more than a place to punch. Now it was where truth could win. Where a good guy could rise. Where the bad guy could fall. Everything felt electric. Like lightning in the air. Then Keanu jumped into the cage. The crowd screamed. His body was fast and sharp like a sword. He was ready. He was going to fight Dax, the big strong guy called the Hammer. The lights flashed fast. The floor shook under their feet. People roared. Fighters hit the cage. People holding money waved it, yelling louder. The music screamed like robots shouting. Everyone was watching. It was time. Dax ran at Keanu. His punches were big and wild. But Keanu moved quick. He used his elbows like sharp tools. Then wham! A low kick hit Dax's leg. It made a cracking sound. "Oh!" the crowd gasped. "He's amazing!" the fighters shouted. They hit the cage hard. People with money cried, "We're losing our bets." They waved their crumpled bills in the air. Everything was loud. Crazy. Just before they had said "take him down," like a joke. Now they meant it. Silas's eyes got big. He yelled again, "Do something, Hammer." But his voice sounded scared now. Not like before. Keanu kept going. Punch. Kick. Elbow. He got close and hit Dax with his knee, right in the ribs. Then his elbow hit Dax's jaw. Boom. 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 Every move was strong. Dax started breathing hard. Sweat dripped from his face. His big body looked smaller now. He was losing. He swung his fists wildly, but he was missing. He was scared. Kai Mercer stood tall again. His fists were tight. His eyes glowed. He still believed. He would never give up. People saw him. They cheered. "Hammer's done," the fighters shouted. People with money groaned. "Our money's gone," they cried. The lights flashed faster. The floor smelled like sweat and blood. This was the place where something true was happening. Where someone strong and good was winning. Keanu was fast like lightning. He spun around, bam. His elbow hit Dax's face hard. It made a loud, scary crunch. Dax fell to the ground. He wasn't the Hammer anymore. He was just done. The cage shook. The crowd screamed. "He's the king now," yelled the old man. Silas looked weak. His shiny smile disappeared. Keanu turned toward Silas. His eyes were like fire. He growled, "Your tricks are over, Silas." Then Keanu pulled something out of Silas's jacket, Kai Mercer's stolen prize money. He held it high in the air. Everyone gasped. "He has the proof," someone shouted. The crowd went wild. The truth hit them like a big boom. Silas's face went pale. His voice shook. "It's not what it looks like," he mumbled. But no one listened. The crowd yelled louder. Fighters stepped toward Silas. They weren't scared of him anymore. They were angry. This was not the quiet crowd that watched Kai Mercer fall. This was a storm. A big, loud storm of truth. Kai Mercer stood up taller. His eyes were bright. He held his fists up. He believed in his dream again. Keanu had helped him get it back. Keanu's punches, kicks, and elbows had knocked down the bad guys. Each move showed how strong he really was. How fair he was. How good. The floor still shook. The air was full of heat, sweat, and something new, justice. The bad guys were gone. The cheaters were done. The lights flashed. The music screamed. People cheered. Keanu. Keanu, they shouted. Kai Mercer smiled. He had his dream again. The good guys had won. And everyone in the warehouse knew. This was just the beginning. The crowd was loud. They shouted together like a big wave in the sea. They were cheering for Keanu Reeves and for Kai Mercer. The crowd's voices were strong. They believed in Reeves. Their cheers were like thunder, so loud that it pushed away the old champion, Silas. The lights were bright and colorful. The fight cage looked like a magic place where big things happen. The man talking over the speakers was shouting too. He said true words like a star exploding in the sky. Silas was losing. His strong kingdom was falling apart like sand. Every punch from Reeves was like lightning. The story of the fight was exciting. Everyone watching couldn't look away. The lights flashed bright, and the fight got bigger and bigger. Kai Mercer was standing up. He looked strong like a superhero. His chest was going up and down as he breathed hard. His eyes were bright and full of hope. Reeves didn't stop. His punches were strong. He was angry, but not in a mean way. He was fighting to make things right. Everyone watching the fight felt something special. This wasn't just a normal fight. It was a big story. A story that would be remembered forever. The warehouse, where the fight was happening, was like a giant fire. But it wasn't a fire that hurt. It was a fire that made everything new and better. Silas was hurt. He leaned on the cage. His shiny gold chains didn't look shiny anymore. The bright lights made his face look tired. He could barely speak. He whispered, it was just business. But no one wanted to hear that. His power was gone. His bad ways didn't work anymore. The people didn't cheer for him now. The fighters in the crowd raised their fists. They showed they were done with cheating. The people who bet money were quiet. They knew they were wrong too. The floor of the warehouse glowed with light. The flashing lights got slower and dimmer. It was like the end of a big dream. Reeves stood tall. He didn't smile or show off. He didn't say anything. His eyes were calm like a big rock. He didn't need to speak. Everyone already knew he was strong. He turned and walked away slowly. The fight was over. He had won without using mean words. Kai Mercer stood up too. His chest was still moving fast. He was tired but proud. He wiped blood from his mouth. He had fought hard. He thought about his sister. He wanted to protect her. That dream was alive again. His eyes looked like fire. The people watching felt it in their hearts. The music got quiet. It was soft and happy now. One of the older fighters walked to Kai Mercer. He had gray hair and a rough voice. He put his hand on Kai Mercer's shoulder and said, "You're tougher than steel, kid." That was a big compliment. The crowd heard it and cheered. The other fighters shouted, "We're free." They punched the air with joy. Even the people who used to cheat nodded and said, "Silas is done." They started to leave. Their voices were soft now. Not like before, when they were loud and greedy. The crowd was different now. We were together like a big team. They all looked at Kai Mercer. He had stood up for what's right. The fighters promised to make a better fight club. A fair one where people didn't cheat. The warehouse lights glowed gently. The air felt fresh and full of hope. Reeves walked out. His boots made quiet sounds on the floor. There was blood on the mats, but he didn't care. He had already spoken with his fists. He didn't need to say anything else. He was like a giant who changed the whole fight club. The crowd watched him go. Some fighters started chanting, "No more scams." That was their promise. They wanted to make things fair now. It wasn't like the old days with Silas or even Dax. This was something new. Kai Mercer watched Reeves walk away. His eyes were full of fire. He felt strong inside. The lights in the warehouse blinked like a soft star. One of the older fighters, named Gideon, gave Kai Mercer a little nod. It was a silent good job. Kai Mercer felt proud. Everyone could feel something special in the air. The story wasn't just about punching. It was about truth and fairness. It made people feel good inside. The man talking on the speaker said words like a big firework, "Justice is here." The people cheered again. Silas sat on the ground. His fancy chains were dirty now. The bright lights didn't shine on him anymore. He looked at the bag of money that he had taken from others. He whispered, "I went too far." He wasn't proud now. He knew he had made big mistakes. He was not the king anymore. The fighters and bettors all shouted, "Honest fights forever." They hit the cage with their fists. They wanted to promise that there would be no more cheating. Even the bettors, the ones who used to like the lies, now said, "We're done with cheats." Their voices were loud and full of truth. This was not just a little change. It was a big one. The Fight Club was going to be different. No more bad tricks. Only fair fights. That's what everyone wanted now. Kai Mercer stood proud. His eyes were bright like stars. He thought about his sister. He wanted to help her. That was his dream. Reeves had helped him believe again. The crowd believed too. They would help each other now. The Fight Club was going to be a family. The fighters all agreed. They would lift each other up. They would not fight dirty anymore. Their promise was strong. The lights in the warehouse blinked one last time. They looked like a warm fire. The fight was over, but the new story had just begun. Justice was alive. It was like a big fire. A fire that doesn't burn people, but makes them better. The truth roared like the wind. It was powerful. Reeves had shown everyone what real strength looked like. It wasn't about muscles. It was about doing what's right. Kai Mercer got his money back. Silas had stolen it, but now it was his again. The crowd saw it. They knew Silas had lied. They knew Kai Mercer was brave. That memory would stay in their hearts forever. The warehouse was quiet now. The lights were soft and red, like glowing embers. It looked like a big fireplace after the fire had gone out. Every shout from before still echoed. The fighters had made a promise. They would keep it. Kai Mercer stood strong. Gideon, the old fighter, had shown respect. Reeves had walked away like a hero. The victory wasn't just about who won the fight. It was about truth. That's what really won today. This new Fight Club would be honest. The fighters had made a promise together. The place where they fought was no longer dirty and unfair. It was a clean, fair place now. A place where fighters could dream. Everyone watching the fight felt it in their hearts. This was not like any other gym. This was not just some street fight. This was something new. A family of fighters who believed in honesty. Reeves had left the fight quietly. He didn't need to shout or brag. He had done something amazing. He had changed everything just by doing the right thing. The fighters looked around. They saw the cage. They saw the soft red lights. They heard the music, now like a soft whisper. They knew something big had happened. Keanu Reeves's voice came through the speakers one last time. It was strong and clear. He said, "Fight for what's right, or lose it all." His words were powerful. Everyone listened. He wasn't just talking about punches or wins. He was talking about life. He was telling everyone that being honest is the strongest thing of all. Not money. Not cheating. Just the truth. Silas sat quietly. He stared at the money. He didn't smile. He didn't look proud. He said softly, "I went too far." He finally understood that cheating only brings pain. He had lost everything. The crowd stood together. Fighters and bettors. All as one. They shouted loudly, "Honest fights forever." Their fists were high in the air. They weren't scared anymore. They hit the cage again and again. "No more scams," they yelled. Even the ones who used to cheat were saying it. They were ready to be better people now. A new Fight Club was born that day. It rose from the ashes of Silas's lies. It was a bright and shiny place now. A place where people could be strong and fair. Kai Mercer stood tall. His eyes were glowing. His dream to help his sister was alive. The fire inside him was strong. Reeves had helped light it. The crowd's promise made it stronger. They all agreed to help each other. To be honest, the lights in the warehouse blinked one last time. They looked like hope. Justice was not just a word now. It was real. It burned like a star. The truth was loud like thunder. The people could feel it in their hearts. Reeves has shown everyone that true strength comes from doing the right thing. Kai Mercer's purse was back. The lies were gone. The truth was clear. The Fight Club stood strong. The red lights glowed. The fighter's promise was like a song in the air. A soft, strong heartbeat. Kai Mercer was the hero now. Reeves was the legend. The crowd was the soul of the club. They were ready to begin again. And the last words that filled the room, like a bright firework in the sky, were, "Victory isn't in the cage. It's standing tall for truth." Enjoyed the story? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I always love chatting with you. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you won't miss the next wild ride. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, stay curious and keep the adventure alive.